gave him all of my information, and he's going to verify me. So he can get, it's a tech company that looks for nonprofits to get money to. But he gave me 2 free tickets to Thursday night's game. Thursday night at the game. No. Me and my husband get the free tickets.
Oh, I thought you
Then
said
I'm
we.
leaving.
You
said
said
when I'm
3
leaving,
tickets.
I'll be back on Thursday for my game, and then I'm leaving again.
You want to see the Tigers?
Yeah. I love baseball. I could watch baseball all day.
That's one
Because they
sport
lost
that's
on
one
Sunday.
sport I'll allow.
Bad. I could not believe they gave up a double in the 4th, and then 2 more runs. I was like, no. Okay, since I have a
Okay, we'll call to order the regular meeting of the Eastpointe Community Schools Board of Education, June 13th, 2022 at 6:32. Please call the roll.
I'm getting it, hold on. Mr. Williams,
Here.
Ms. Rayford,
Here.
Dr. Early,
here.
Mr. Ward is excused, Mr. Roscoe, Mr. Grugenberg,
Here.
and Ms. DeVita is here.
If we'd all stand, Dan will lead us in the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, before we get into approval of the agenda, item number 9B5 needs to be removed. And I'd be willing to accept the motion with the amendment to the agenda.
I make a motion that we accept the agenda with the amendment.
Support.
Your pick.
Oh. I heard Mr. Williams, right? Was it
That's
second?
fine.
Yeah.
Please call the vote.
Dr. Early,
Yes.
Mr. Williams,
Yes.
Ms. Rayford,
Yes.
Mr. Grugenberg,
Yes.
Mr. Roscoe,
Yes.
and Ms. DeVita, yes.
Next is consent agenda. Is there a motion for the consent agenda?
Place motion to accept the consent agenda as written.
We have support?
Support.
Any discussion? Please call the vote.
Mr. Roscoe,
Yes.
Dr. Early,
Yes.
Mr. Williams,
Yes.
Ms. Rayford,
Yes.
Mr. Grugenberg,
Yes.
and Ms. DeVita, yes.
Okay, next we have superintendent's report. Dr. McLeod.
Thank you, Mr. President. A couple of things. We do have the last day of school coming up this week, which I don't know if people have realized that was coming, but it is very exciting. So we will have, for elementary students, our last day will be a full day on Thursday. And for middle and high school, we will have a half day still on Friday. So that is the plan for the remainder of the school year. It is going to be warm this week, so very important that we do our best to try and dress appropriately for school and make sure we're not overdressing given the amount of heat that we're expected to face this week. So also, this evening, the majority of my time is going to be spent with a presentation from Mrs. Gibson related to our tuition certification program.
All right, good evening, ladies and gentlemen of the board. I'm joined this evening by Joe Lubeck. Joe is the dean of the college in Northern Michigan University. So Joe, you can unmute and we'll give it a little sound test here.
Thank you so much. And I'll test with saying you were talking about what to wear. We're still layering up here, so.
All right, excellent. And Joe, can you give us a little overview of who you are and how you came to be here with us this evening?
Sure. So, hi, everybody. Joe Lubig, like Christina was saying, Northern Michigan University. And I'm in the teacher education, educator preparation program. And I get to lead that program, which is very exciting for me. And Christina reached out to us through our colleagues at the Michigan Department of Education to talk to us about how we could partner together to support teachers seeking initial licensure in a secondary education field, maybe learning disabilities and some other areas. And we were excited because we had a grant several years ago to run a program to help people on interim certificates or temporary certificates who are changing careers to be licensed. And it was very successful with a lot of support in the Upper Peninsula and Northern Lower Michigan. And over the past 3 years, that program has expanded statewide. So currently, really at any given time, we have about 15 to 20 people enrolled in a master's degree pathway or graduate course pathway to obtain a teaching certificate for initial licensure in a secondary teaching field. So we jumped at the chance to work with Eastpointe. We heard great things from our colleagues at the MDE, and we're also excited because when Christina and I spoke, we talked about what the tuition rate could be, and our VP for finance and president for our university, we're all about lowering that rate so that you all could use your resources to do more good. And it's really important to us that we're doing everything we can in every way to support our schools in the state of Michigan and our children and young adults. So we're excited because we get to learn things from all of you at Eastpointe also, which is just makes us really happy. We get to grow our learning as well. So thank you.
Yeah, so super. Eastpointe Community Schools had a partnership, you formally know about it, with Concordia University. And over the past 4 years, we've been evaluating the efficacy of the program. And what we found with our Concordia students was that there was some communication foibles between the university and the district. We also found that all of our Concordia pathway residents were leaving the district because once they had certification, they chose to leave. So we were spending a lot of time and energy on a pathway to teaching, but it wasn't having the long-term benefits with the district. And we also found it was cost prohibitive for our students. Concordia's tuition was high. Even with a 25% off discount, Concordia's tuition was still high. So we did officially end our partnership with Concordia this year, but immediately we had already been in some conversations with the MDE and searching for a new partner. And as Joe Lubeck referenced, Joe, I'm not screen sharing, but I'm showing the flyer. The program name will be the Step Up to Certification. The district will be offering 2 pathways to certification. One will be a paraprofessional to learning disabled pathway. So for those employees who are existing paraprofessionals in our organization, but might be a few credits shy of getting a bachelor's degree, They would be able to enroll at Northern Michigan University and take courses to complete their bachelor's degree. Then the district would, and Northern Michigan would have a pathway for them to obtain a learning disability certificate. And as you know, our need area is in special education. We also have a high need for certified staff at the secondary level. So the second pathway would be that there is a pathway for those with a bachelor's degree who would be seeking certification. And both of those programs will involve teachers being mainstreamed into the existing pathway that Northern Michigan calls their step up to certification. All the coursework would be online with embedded support by the district and embedded support by a partner that Northern Michigan selects to support our candidates in the program. What we would be asking for the board to do this evening is to support this residency program. We have also negotiated with our teachers union. The teachers union and the district, as well as legal counsel, has developed a contract that we would require that an employee who the district funds for tuition would stay with the district for 3 years after certification. So what we're proposing to you is a pedagogically sound partner in Northern Michigan with experience in developing and growing educators, our own people in our coaching system supporting those educators, and then we will be asking the Board of Education to support this program by using our ESSER 3 funds to set aside $500,000, which would give us the ability to support 40 people on their pathway to becoming certified teachers and staying with Eastpointe Community Schools. Joe, is there anything else pedagogically that you would like to add to the board?
Just to reassure the board, we've been placing student teachers out of our immediate area across the world for student teaching for 16 weeks for about 50 years. So even before like true online was a thing, we've been supporting distance education as a way to develop people in initial cert. And then our online programs, again, because of where we're located, right, and having to use distance technology, we've been doing that really well through accredited programs, through the LD Learning Disabilities Program and others for 15 years. So we were one of the first in that space in the state from a public, right? So we feel really confident in what we're doing. And I hope we're not sounding arrogant. We love what we do, and we're very confident that we can support your needs at Eastpointe. So thank you for the opportunity and for the consideration.
And Northern Michigan, as Joe alluded to, is offering half off of tuition if the district funds the pathway. So I think it ends up being about $400, and the normal graduate credits are $800. So if the district funds this and sets aside, we have also, Mr. Carlesso has gotten approval from the MDE that we would use pre-approval for writing the application for ESSER 3. And that is a viable pathway according to the Department of Education as well. So that concludes our report on a future action item.
I know it's my time, but I also know the board may have some questions, and while we have our guests zooming in with us here, I want to make sure that you have an opportunity to ask any of those questions.
I have one regarding, I thought I heard residency, but there is an online opportunity.
So,
I'm looking at where they are versus where.
right, so Northern Michigan, the pedagogical part of the program will all be online. The residency part is what, the language that we developed in our residency program with Concordia. We will be hiring the staff while they are completing this journey. They will be employed and working for Eastpointe Community Schools. Some may be employed as paraprofessionals in a classroom, working towards getting a bachelor's and then moving to certification. And so each employee will be on a different pathway. It's going to depend on how many credits they have, what kind of certification they are hoping for. And then, the district would choose if these are candidates that we want to continue to invest in. So we will also be pulling full-year basic sub-permits. When you pull a full-year basic sub-permit, you're required to provide a mentor. We're required to provide evaluation and feedback on growth as well. And if at any time we feel like an employee or a resident is not making progress, we would let them know that, the district won't continue to fund the tuition. They would be welcome to continue to pay on their own. So we'll have those pieces to work out. Did I effectively answer your question, though?
Yes, you did. I'm used to hearing residency in another context.
Right, and so that's language that the union and the district negotiated to be able to hire people who do not have a teaching certificate. We actually have a residency step on our teaching scale that is a residency pay.
Okay, I have a question. What about the teachers who have a master's or above who just need the certificate? Will they have to go back and get a specialty, like if they were doing math or English or something like that?
Yeah, but it depends on, you have to have a major or a minor in a highly qualified, certified area. There's lots of different pathways. Again, it's going to be, every person would be different. We would have to look at their transcript. Northern Michigan would look at the transcript and they would decide, does this candidate have enough coursework to get a certification in mathematics? Joe's nodding his head. Do you want to weigh in a little bit on that, Joe?
Yes, that is the messy part, is everybody is different. As an example, I have somebody who just enrolled in our program who has a master's degree in English and a master's degree in fine arts. They meet all the content requirements. Plus, I was able to use some of their teaching experience and courses they've taught as the requirements for the pedagogy. So they're ending up taking about a third of the required credits to get the license because of their previous coursework and experiences. So it's all case by case, yes.
So they still would have to take additional education.
It would depend on
On
each
top of-
person. Yep, some people have taken enough coursework, some may have taken a few education classes and have some coursework in early childhood development or other pieces. It's all going to be contingent upon what prior coursework a candidate may have taken before. Already, we have a nice reciprocity between the district and Joe. We identify possible candidates, we send them off to Northern Michigan. Northern Michigan does a transcript review to plot out a pathway for each candidate.
Okay.
And Dr. Early, they'd be happy to review your transcripts if you'd like. Is that you're asking for a friend or?
No, I had somebody who was gonna come, but Concordian, the price for that was so expensive, they couldn't afford it.
right.
And so they never did get into the program, but she has a master's degree, and actually she teaches in Wayne Westland right now. And so that's why I was asking.
Okay.
Not for Geneva, no. I love the babies, only volunteer.
Anything else? Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Joe.
Thank you, everybody. Have a good evening. Bye.
I don't know if you can see us, but I'll wave
He
too.
can't. He only sees my beautiful face.
And that, Mr. President, concludes our report this evening.
Okay, next we have first hearing of the public. Does anyone wish to be heard? Does anyone wish to be heard? Seeing none, we'll open and close the first hearing of the public at 6:50. Okay, next item on the agenda is recognition of retirees. I would like to put forth a motion to table that.
Support.
Please call a vote.
Was it Ms. Rayford? Ms. Rayford?
Yes.
Sorry, Mr. Grugenberg?
Yes.
Sorry, I
Dr.
did
Hurley,
that wrong. I'm sorry. Dr. Hurley,
Yes.
Mr. Williams,
Yes.
Mr. Roscoe,
Yes.
and Ms. DeVito, yes.
Okay, now, the reason that we did that, just so everybody knows, we can't discuss a table motion parliamentary procedure-wise before we take the vote. Just so you know, we invited everybody to be here at 7 o'clock, so anybody that may not show up. So as soon as the hand hits 7 o'clock, we're going to break off of whatever items that we're addressing, but we want to continue to move forward, expediency's sake. We have an awful lot on the agenda tonight, if you hadn't noticed. So, 10 minutes. Next item on the agenda is curriculum 2022-23 MHSAA membership resolution. Do we need an explanation of that?
I mean, this is the annual resolution.
It's an annual resolution that we have to do.
Every
That
year.
entitles our kids to participate in sanctioned events. Da, da,
Yes.
da, da, da. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Support?
Support.
I'll support. I said support first. How about that?
You got it. You got it.
Please call a vote.
Oh, bossy, okay. Ms. Rayford,
Yes.
Mr. Grugenberg,
Yes.
Mr. Williams,
Yes.
Dr. Hurley,
Yes.
Mr. Roscoe,
Yes.
and Ms. DeVito, yes.
Next item is end-of-year data. House Bill 4411 requirement.
Yep, as per House Bill 4411 requires the district to report on our progress on our educational goals while we return from the pandemic. So here are our gender traits going on here in the district right now. We're at 54% male and about 46% female. The majority of our population ethnicity-wise is African-American at about 77%. 12% Caucasian, 1 Asian, 1% Hispanic, and multiracial at 7%. To remind the board, our achievement goals for ELA was that by the end of 2021-22 school year, each school and the district will show growth in reading ELA achievement through the global pandemic as measured by NWEA, MAP growth for K-8, and also local assessments 9-12. It is a similar goal for mathematics as well. So when we dive in and look at our spring NWEA, NWEA did put out learning findings during COVID. We shared these with the board at our mid-year meeting as well, that student achievement was lower with large declines in mathematics. Achievement for all groups fell, but for marginalized populations and students in high poverty were disproportionately impacted. And student gains lagged across the board for norms, but with a special focus on, a special focus on mathematics. Here you have the normative and why it is still showing in editing mode. I apologize, but I will keep going. We see our normative growth data for our students. Our spring data for some of our subgroups is on par. We did not see the growth in our 5th grade this year that we would have hoped to have seen in normative data here. When we look across the district, we look at our fully virtual students, our hybrid students, and our remote students. We're offering all different modes of instruction across the district. We did find that our fully remote K-8 students were not making the same academic gains as our students who were coming to the district. We did, throughout the course of the year, require students to come back to in-person learning if they were not making progress in their NWEA. So some of the key findings. Bellevue showed tremendous growth this year in each grade level and subject from fall to spring. While math and reading achievement was below the grade level, they did make growth. Crescentwood, math and reading achievement is below grade level for all students. However, students are very close to meeting growth norms in both reading and math. At Eastpointe High School, our 9th grade students exceeded the growth norms in mathematics. 10th and 11th grade students made no or did not have any negative growth in reading. Our middle school students, significantly less eighth graders took the math NWEA than reading. Our eighth grade students did come close to meeting the standard growth norms in reading and math. Our seventh graders met the standard growth norm in reading. Pleasant View, third grade students exceeded the growth norms in both math and reading. Fifth grade students at Pleasant View did make negative growth in reading. Forest Park, our first grade students came close to meeting their growth norms. Second grade students came close to meeting norms in reading, and they exceeded them in mathematics. So a big area of concern for us when we look at all of the district data, again, that fifth grade at Pleasant View is a concern area for us. And we have talked with the middle school about some interventions that may need to take place for sixth grade. Then we also took time, I'm going to go to the key takeaways. Bellevue, males and females had similar achievement, with females outperforming males in reading. White students outperformed African American students in both math and reading. General education students outperformed special education. Male students at Crescentwood outperformed females in reading, but underperformed males in mathematics. White students outperformed African American in both math and reading, and general education students outperformed special education. And then I'm going to just keep going and give you the key takeaways. At the high school, our economically disadvantaged and non-economically disadvantaged had similar achievement. Females outperformed males in reading and math. General education students significantly outperformed special education in reading and math. And our white students significantly outperformed African American students in math and slightly in reading. At the middle school, economically disadvantaged students outperformed their peers in math. That's a pretty amazing statement. We don't normally see a subgroup of economically disadvantaged students having exceeding peer groups. Our females do outperform our males in reading and math, and the African American students at the middle school outperformed white students and those of two or more races in math and reading. These do not translate very well to this format, so I'm going to keep going with our takeaways. Forest Park, our economically disadvantaged students outperformed their peers. Females outperformed males in both reading and math. White students outperformed African American in reading and math, and general education students outperformed our special education students. Pleasant View females outperformed, and the general education students outperformed again in those areas. So lastly, as a data summary, looking at all of this data, our team is weighing very heavily if we would continue to offer full virtual K-8. Again, we don't see the growth in that modality of learning, and the majority of those students had to return to school. Most students have improved in the area of reading since fall of 2022. The majority of our students did make fall to winter growth in both ELA and math. Every grade level showed growth in math. 9 to 12 had the least amount of growth, but that is in line with what the normative data shows us. And again, we have something to explore with the eighth graders. We did not have a strong test on math NWEA. It was not as strong as the reading test with the number of children taking it. Many grade levels met growth expectations or came close, even without a high quality educator. And that's an interesting piece there. The curriculum department is working on a new math resource for adoption K-8, which we anticipate will show an achievement in math in the years to come. That concludes our data summary findings to be compliant with House Bill 4411.
Which does not require any kind of motion or approval.
It does not, just that we present the data.
Okay. Just wanted to make sure. Let's see what else we got. Can we get one or two of these quick in? Yes. Let's go to B number 1, which is the 2022-23 Board of Education meeting dates. I think we have those, right, in our package?
Yeah.
We'll seek a motion to approve those dates.
I will support that motion. Guess I
Support.
should make it first.
Yeah, and then Robert supports. Support.
Okay, I move that we
Please call the vote.
accept those dates.
Ms. Rayford,
Yes.
Mr. Roscoe,
Yes.
Dr. Early.
Yes.
Mr. Williams,
Yes.
Mr. Grugenberg,
Yes.
and Ms. DeVita, yes.
Okay, since it's 7 o'clock, I am going to make a motion to remove item number 8 from the table. Please call the vote.
Mr. Grugenberg,
Yes.
Dr. Early,
Yes.
Ms. Rayford,
Yes.
Mr. Williams,
Yes.
Mr. Roscoe,
Yes.
Ms. DeVita, yes.
Okay. And I'm glad we waited till 7. 3 other people did walk in. And I'm glad they didn't miss. Folks, I think we usually go down here, right? Stand in front. For the presentation.
So good evening and welcome to all of the retirees and friends and family who are here to celebrate our retirees. The board will come down to the front. And this evening, I will be your master of ceremony and introduce each retiree. You are welcome to step up to the podium and turn the mic on and share any words of wisdom with the rest of us that you have gained from your years of experience here in Eastpointe. That is not a requirement, of course. And then you will greet the board, and then Dan Zander, our ambassador, and Lori Rush will present you with your bell. So first up this evening, we'd like to welcome Danielle Nyrance. Danielle has completed 26 years of service with East Detroit and Eastpointe Community Schools. She retired from Crescentwood Elementary School as an instructional coach and was a longtime teacher with the district. Please join me in celebrating and recognizing Danielle Nyrance this evening.
Just want to say thank you for this recognition, and, it was a great 26 and a half years, and I'm blessed that I was able to work here my whole entire career. Thank you.
All right, so next up, we'll welcome to the podium Susan Miller. Sue is retiring after 31 years of service to East Detroit and Eastpointe Community Schools. She has served in a variety of roles, from teacher to principal to counselor to central office wrangler. And it has been a true honor and pleasure to work with Sue Miller. Congratulations, Sue, and thank you for your years of service.
Thank you. I just wanted to thank my family, Eric and Olivia and Alyssa. Thank you for always supporting me on my educational journey here. And thank you to all the amazing, amazing people that I've worked with over the years. Both of my secretaries are here, Teresa and Deb, so thank you so much for everything that you've done for me and for the school and for our students, and for all of the amazing staff members that I worked for over the years. Thank you.
And next, we'd like to welcome to the podium Linda Nasoto. Linda retired from our Local 120 Food Service Department And Linda served 25 years here in East Detroit and Eastpointe Community Schools, and I miss you all the time.
Thank you. Part of that was as a sub for the district. That's how I started my food service career, but it worked out great. Kids in school, if they weren't, I wasn't either. So that worked out wonderful. I worked with some great people in the food service department and some wonderful teachers in every building, and I worked in every building, all of them way back to when we had lots. And I miss it. I do miss it, but not enough to come back.
Next, we'd like to welcome Michael Gray. Michael came to Eastpointe Community Schools as a second attempt at, I want to say a second career, but it wasn't a career. A change for you. You were a principal formerly in another district. He joined Eastpointe Community Schools, and we had the pleasure of having Michael be with our district for 6 years, and he has retired from service in public education. Congratulations, Michael Gray.
Thank you. Thank you. I did retire for 8 months. I want to thank Eastpointe Community Schools for giving me the opportunity to work 6 years with you, anywhere from in-school suspension, computer teacher, physical education teacher, and health teacher. I enjoyed my stay, and actually I came out of retirement December 15th, and now I'm athletic director and assistant principal at South Lake Community Schools. So I went back into education after 31 years. So I'm enjoying my short hiatus so far, but thank you again for giving me the opportunity to work with Eastpointe Community Schools.
Next, we'd like to welcome Robin Leong to the podium. Robin, her career spanned 20 years, and although certified as a teacher, I know she was the happiest providing intervention services to students at Pleasant View, and we are so lucky that you served in your community, and we appreciate your dedication to Eastpointe.
Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody. It's really been a joy to be with East Detroit Public Schools, or Eastpointe Public Schools, for these last 20 years. I started doing Project Leap, and I thought I was only going to be hired for 2 years, and it looked like that they needed us a whole lot longer, and I absolutely loved being a parapro. To me, it was one of the best jobs I've ever had, just being able to support the students, to support the staff, to have wonderful great friends within the staff, and I loved my time here. The only reason that I retired was my grandchildren were involved in nursery school that they had a need for, and when you have grandchildren, you have to be where they are. So thank you so much. It's been a pleasure to serve here. Thank you.
Next, we'd like to celebrate Roy Holmes. Mr. Holmes was a dedicated employee to East Detroit Eastpointe Community Schools for 25 years, serving in a variety of roles, but most recently as an intervention teacher at Eastpointe Middle School. And I know Stephanie Fleming would love to have you back in any capacity that you would like.
Actually, last year, earlier this year, she asked me to come back for full pension and full pay, and I had to pass it up. Unfortunately, I wish I could have taken her up on it, but I could not. My career ended a little earlier than I would have liked, for circumstances that some of you are familiar with. I'm a man of few words, and I have to keep it short tonight. I'd like to thank the district for the opportunity and for the recognition and the closure, which I desperately needed. Thank you very much.
And there isn't a day that goes by that we don't miss Teresa Connor. So Teresa Connor, would you please come on up? Teresa worked as an administrative assistant in Eastpointe Community Schools for 23 years.
Fun years. I want to thank you for having me for 23 years. It was my dream job, during which I've worked for 11 principals at 5 elementaries and packed a lot of them. The best has been my 14, 15 years with Sue. We've worked together. It's not any boss, nothing. We were a team. That whole building's a team, and they're fabulous. I'm grateful all my friendships that I've made between my fellow secretaries. They're fabulous. Don't forget them. But most of all, the Crescentwood family's been so dear. Thanks for having me.
And last but not least, you're going to need to leave the line, Dr. Ryan McLeod, and go step up to the podium for just a second over there. Ryan McLeod came to the district probably in one of the darker hours of the district where much was needed to be fixed and repaired. Ryan has served 7 years here at Eastpointe Community Schools.
That's all you're going to say?
I can't say anything else. Thank you very much.
So I am not going to say anything tonight because next board meeting will be my last board meeting. So I am going to save my words for my last superintendent report. But thank you for recognizing my retirement.
So if we could invite all our retirees up to the front. You have preemptively rung your bell. If all the retirees could please, Diane, can you grab a pen? You know, this is kind of what happens to children in music classes too. So come on up. Congratulations. That one student that you wanted to ring their bell. So congratulations. If you guys could get a little closer, that'd be great. All right, and retirees, we invite you to go ahead and ring your bell. Congratulations. Thank you. Did you guys get a good picture? All right, congratulations and thank you all for your commitment to Eastpointe. Hi.
Door's always open.
Retirees and your families, Diane can meet you out in the hallway. You are welcome to head out. She does have a box for your bell. Yes. And please enjoy any refreshments out in the hallway. You, of course, are welcome to stay for the rest of the board meeting, but do not have to.
Nothing personal, but they all left.
Hey, we're going to go ahead and take about 5-10 minutes. If you want to go visit and talk, we can. Get a bag of chips and a bottle of water or something. Yeah, if you want to.
Go enjoy yourself.
They said that plane was canceled.
plan, including the action items. I'm more than happy to answer any questions about the 90-day plan that has been in your packet at this time.
Okay.
Great, thank you so much.
Next, we have certification tuition.
The presentation was made for this tuition during the superintendent's report. We would be asking the board to earmark $500,000 to fund tuition for up to approximately 40 candidates to move through the pathway.
And the money comes from where again?
We will be using the money identified in ESSER 3. So we will have an expenditure date of September 30, 2024. There will be some ongoing conversations with ourselves in Northern Michigan over the next year as to how we allocate and use those resources. Again, it will only be for tuition. It would not include registration fees, course materials. It would be straight tuition that we would be paying. And in exchange, in exchange, we would expect a commitment past 3 years of certification.
Put forth a motion that we accept the certification tuition.
It was Roscoe and then. Any other questions? Please call vote.
Mr. Roscoe?
Yes.
Ms. Rayford? Mr. Williams?
Yes.
Mr. Grugenberg?
Yes.
And Ms. DeVita, yes.
Next, we have the Boys and Girls Club lease agreement.
Thank you, Mr. President. This evening, we are pleased to be able to present to the board for consideration a lease agreement for one of our facilities there. It's what's previously known as the Alternative Center, Eastpointe Alternative Center. And I think we had a presentation maybe 2 board meetings ago related to the program and the offerings that they would be doing. After we had a little bit of delay because we had a few last ends we wanted to kind of tie up. We wanted to make sure we got this right. And we are asking for the board's approval for the lease agreement so that they can begin planning and organizing and running their programs. And we do have Mr. Rod Brown here, if there are any questions, and then also Ms. Tiffany Sulu.
Okay, I know we beat this up pretty good last time, but does anybody have any other questions?
So we did get it ironed out?
Yes, yes. And just as a point for the board, we chose not to engage right now in an MOU, so that's why it was removed from the agenda, because we don't have any joint programs yet that we're actually going to be running. When we do develop those, we'll bring a separate MOU for those items when it comes. So we just didn't feel like it was necessary at this time, but we do want to get the lease agreement going so that they can get in the building and start getting it ready for programming.
Well, Dr. McCall, one question. So there will be pop-ups, just to be clear, there will be pop-up.
Yeah, as I understand it, and feel free to join in if you like, but it sounds like it sounds like there are because of the delay that we've had to getting to this point. I'm not sure that the plan is still to start programming at the end of this month. It sounds like they might be doing some pop-ups through the summer with a plan of a launch of actual kind of full-time programming in the fall.
Okay. Is there a motion to approve the lease agreement?
Place forth a motion to approve.
You'd be supporting.
I was waiting on one of y'all.
Mary already said so moved is real
okay,
quick.
I didn't hear.
So moved is real quick. Please call the vote.
Ms. Rayford?
Yes.
Mr. Roscoe?
Yes.
Mr. Williams?
Yes.
Mr. Grugenberg?
Yes,
And Ms. DeVita, yes.
and thank you for coming out. Even though we didn't have a bunch of questions for you, thank you for coming out
We
anyhow.
beat it up enough. That horse is dead.
Okay, next we have business and operations, recommendation to purchase air purification systems.
Good evening. Since COVID virus shut down, the district in 2020, our parents, students, and staff have been concerned about the quality of air in our buildings and the spread of the coronavirus. So with our architectural firm and engineering firm, we looked at different alternatives to help provide a cleaner working environment, in air, that is. And, what was recommended to us was a system called needlepoint bipolar ionization. Molecules or particles that are in air from COVID are very light. So they're so light that they can't be filtered. What this system does, through positive and negative energy, it binds the particles together so that they have some weight to them, some mass, and they're able to be filtered through the air system and out of our classrooms. And the air, depending on the room and stuff, the air will change, at least 6 times per hour. So this evening we're bringing forth a proposal to give 1 unit in each classroom. Sometimes they're in the unit ventilators, sometimes they're in the overhead ventilation units, but each classroom and district would be impacted, and it costs us $379,800.
Is there a motion?
It's a general question.
Okay.
Is there a threshold financially for bidding process?
So there is. The state bid limit, I think, is roughly $25,000. This has already been bid out. It's on a purchasing consortium. And so they've done that work already, and it's approved by the state of Michigan. So that's why we went this process. And this is also going to be funded through the ESSER grant, ESSER 3, actually. There's no cost to the general fund.
Is there a motion?
Down there?
I'll make a motion that we accept the recommendation to purchase the air purification systems.
Support.
Please call a vote.
Mr. Williams?
Yes.
Mr. Carrasco?
Yes.
Mrs. Rayford?
Yes.
Mr. Rugenberg?
Yes.
Ms. DeVita, yes.
Next, we have recommendation to purchase student computers.
So our technology coordinator, Danny Latham, is requesting that we replenish our fleet of Chromebooks. We have approximately 700 Chromebooks that are going to be beyond their serviceable life. In other words, they would no longer be supported through Google. And then the rest there's actually 1,200 total. And the balance is also switching over our K-2 buildings from Apples to Chromebooks. And then there's also a replenishment of Chromebooks that were damaged or lost throughout the last year. So we're requesting $384,672.68 to purchase 1,224 Chromebooks, along with the case and the software licenses.
It's an add-on, right, to what we already purchased?
Yes. Yeah.
You're purchasing the Chromes, but are they going to be hot packs along with them when you sell?
Hotspots?
Hotspots.
I'm not aware that we need more hotspots at this time.
But you,
Yeah.
Good question. I'm sorry for speaking so loud. I'm in pain. What is the disposal process for those computers that are no longer being used?
So we usually go through a vendor who wipes them clean. Like they do some type of process where they clear all the data out of the memory, and then we get some type of trade-in value for them. It's basically scrap value at that point because they're beyond their serviceable life. So any student data, anything like that, would be wiped clean from the computers.
one more question. All right, you had to add something to the server the last time. Now you're changing brands from Apple to Chrome, right? Will you?
We have Chromebooks in the district already.
Okay, so you wouldn't have to do anything with this.
It was just the lower L that Kindergarten.
wanted to stay, our kindergarten level wanted to stay using iPads. We've since reviewed the platforms that we're using educationally, and we feel that it would be better to move to the Chromebooks. The iPads are more costly and harder to maintain. They're also harder to manage in mass. So our instructional team made the recommendation that instead of buying costly iPads, that we go ahead and make the full switch, and the whole district would be Chromebooks instead of one age group having iPads.
Okay, is there a motion?
So moved.
She said 2 words, you can say 1.
I place.
You could say support, and then we're there in 3
Support,
words.
let's go, Senator. Support.
Ms. Rayford?
Yes.
Mr. Rasko?
Yes.
Mr. Williams?
Yes.
Mr. Grugenberg?
Yes.
Ms. DeVita, yes.
Okay, next we have second hearing of the public. Does anyone wish to be heard? Oh, whoa, wait a minute. Oh, maybe we won't, no. Next we have second hearing of the public. Does anyone wish to be heard? Seeing none, second hearing in public is closed. Wait. I'm letting her stew for a while. I'm having some fun here. Come on, let me have some fun. I mistakenly forgot to look for a motion on the 90-day plan. That's my fault. Is anybody willing to put forth a motion to accept the 90-day entry plan for the new superintendent?
Place forth a motion that we place for a 90-day plan towards the incoming superintendent.
Support.
Please call the vote.
Mr. Rasko?
Yes.
Mr. Williams?
Yes.
Ms. Rayford?
Yes.
Mr. Grugenberg?
Yes.
Ms. DeVita, yes.
Okay. Next is trustee announcements. We'll start over here with Mr. Roscoe.
It's summertime. The kids about to be released from school for a period of time. Just want them to be safe. Want to congratulate all of the our retirees, those that's coming in and going out, and that everyone just enjoy their summer and try to stay cool on Wednesday. That's all I have to say.
Mr. Williams.
Thank you, Mr. President. Congratulations to all the retirees. Again, I want to thank them for their awesome service. Congratulations to Keith for receiving that recognition at the commencement ceremony on Tuesday. That was a beautiful ceremony. Congratulations to all the 2022 graduates. And also we had a state placer at the state qualifier. I think his name was Kenneth Williams. He placed 8th, so that was huge. Congratulations to him. Be safe this summer. And thank you. That's all I have.
Ms. Rayford.
Thank you. Ditto to all the congratulations.
We're good? Ms. DeVita.
Just congratulations to all the retirees and to the new hire, I think at Crescentwood principal. Congratulations. And just, a little bit sad that, we're ending one with Dr. McLeod, and we're gonna miss him. But we're excited because then we have Mrs. Gibson coming on, and kudos, and I'm truly excited over that too. So it's sad and happy at the same time. One of those things. And just, keep up the good work with everybody that you're doing and stuff. And sorry I missed the graduation. Just been going through a lot of pain with my chronic pain disease. It's just really tough at times to sit for too long or stand for too long, and with the heat and that. So yeah, I'm sorry I missed it. And, you know, congratulations to all the students, though. And I hope all of our students are safe and their families throughout the summer, and can't wait to welcome you back towards the fall. So everybody stay safe. That's all.
Okay, first off, my memory isn't totally gone. The name is Gary Collins. That's all the way from the folks that weren't here at the workshop meeting. Gary Collins was the one that negotiated for us, and that's all he does. Retirees, it's kind of like, it's a mixture of emotions, like you said, but for me, it's a little bit different in some ways because I'm happy always to see people have the ability to go ahead and retire and enjoy that portion of their life. You know, so that makes me happy. But, you know, you're kind of sad to see them leave as well, too, because you know the positive impact they've been having on our students. And you don't want that to end. So there's always that mixed emotion there. I guess I have to side on, since I'm getting close to retirement, I want to be more happy that they're retiring for them. Because they have dedicated, we heard the years of service here, they have dedicated a large portion of their life to our students. And many of the ones that were brought up here, it was their whole career. Their whole career was spent here. So that's really nice to see. And then as far as the graduation, the thing that, the last 2 years, man, I just hate to promote something, but the last 2 years, the graduation ceremonies, the weather, the location, everything. I mean, even this time, I was thinking to myself, you know, because it rained a good portion of that day. And I was just thinking to myself, I sure hope that, you know, what are we going to do if, and all that stuff's running through your head all day. And then it cleared up. And it was beautiful. It was a beautiful day. So, and then, of course, seeing Keith was a fantastic thing to see Keith. I wish him the best, and it's nice to see that he's up and around a bit. I saw him at the parade not too long ago, Memorial Day parade, and I've seen him at the graduation, and I'm glad to see that he has enough energy, that he is getting out a bit, and that's good. That's a good thing. But I can't say enough about the graduation ceremony. This is probably one of my favorite graduation ceremonies ever. And it was, part of it was Keith, and part of it was the weather and the setting and everything. It was just perfect. So, with that being said, we'll call the meeting adjourned at 7:45. Quicker than I anticipated.